Well, hello, ladies, gentlemen, whoever or whatever you identify as. Welcome back to the Shed of Dread. Welcome to another video. Right then, another article. Actually, I quite enjoy doing these. I hope you're enjoying them too. Goggles on. Let's go. Right then, this is from Salon or Salon or Salon or whatever, and it's a commentary thing. Right, this could be interesting. Let's see what. Written by Melanie McFarland. Let's all stop ignoring the Fandom Menace. It's real and it's winning. Well, yeah. Attacks from the toxic side of Marvel and Star Wars fandoms are a feature, not a bug, and they serve a darker side. Right then, before we start, that just sets out what this article is going to be. Completely out of touch, trying to spin that the fact that when people have genuine criticisms of something, they're immediately toxic fans. One of the first highly public incidents of Ms. Marvel trolling happened nearly a decade ago, courtesy of Stephen Colbert, who's turned into a prick now, but it doesn't matter. Ladies and gentlemen, America's lost another battle in the culture war, which is surprising because we've got all the guns, he says. This time the battlefield is comic books, and folks, it saddens me because I'm a fan. Colbert was referring to Marvel's announcement in November 2013 that Kamala Khan, a Muslim teenager from Jersey City, was set to assume the Miss Marvel mantle. I mean, Miss Marvel used to look like this. Yeah. This is an affront that's taken me about. A Muslim could not be a superhero, for Pete's sakes. They're on the no-fly list, Colbert imperiously huffs. It's even more upsetting when you consider that the originals of Miss Marvel. She was a wholesome, all-American, blonde, family values, two bulging chest muscles, wearing her Sunday church panties. There's nothing more than a Sharia creep, plain and simple. Since this rant was brought to us by the Colbert Report, Colbert's hallowed satire of right-wing talk shows in which he parodied Bill O'Reilly and Fox News windbags, the audience understood it to be a bit. Yeah, but the thing is, it may be a bit. Nearly a decade later, another group of self-important white guys are rallying against Kamala Khan's exist to right the Marvel Universe. The difference is they're not joking, even if some of them insist they are. I'll stop you right there. You will also find, as I've done in another video, that quite a lot of Muslims ain't fucking happy about it either. So stop blaming all the white guys. That's why it's done. So you've always got to get out of jail excuse card. The truth of the matter is, Miss Marvel is a boring, uninspiring, unexciting, unentertaining sack of shit. Got fuck all to do with the lead character and everything to do with the fact no one cares. It's boring. As the actors are as varied as they're motivated, you see, engaging between review bombing. They see that's another one which shows you the kind of thing. There's no such thing as review bombing. That's called people not being fucking happy with it. But if it's something that you agree with, the left thinks great, then it's review bombing. It's not. It's people genuinely saying this show's shit. As they did with Disney Plus's Ms. Marvel hours after its debut. No, they registered complaints, which is what they're allowed to do. Just because you like it doesn't mean everybody else does. Sanctimonious. Because it's an easy way to kick what they see as social justice warriors' hornet's nest. Others camp out in Facebook groups where they've recycled manufactured illusions of inflated events for their own entertainment. Some have, some not. Obi-Wan Kenobi star Moses Ingram was the most recent here we go target. Her harassment and Disney's response, including the video post of Ewan McGregor defending her, was widely reported. Not long before Ingram made her Obi-Wan debut as Inquisitor Reva Senvenda, bigots piled upon the newcomer Leah Jeffries as when done. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. See, the bigots. Straight away. You know how offensive you're talking. The truth of the matter is, it was very odd that the timing of these so-called bigot attacks just happened to be motivated at exactly the right moment in time. Because we like to cause these things sometimes. When Disney announced she'd been cast as the new Annabeth Chase in comedies. When Disney announced she'd been cast as the new Annabeth Chase in the upcoming Disney Plus adaptation of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. All of this is directly or tangibly decentralised web is referred to as the Fandom Menace. a group of extreme online comic book and Star Wars zealots that are coerced around the sharing dislike for Rian Johnson's film sequel Star The Last. It's because it was shit. You see, this is what is wrong with the way it is. When people have legitimate criticism of a film, which the vast majority of what you're calling the Fandom Menace, these evil racist bigots, when we pointed out it was a shit film, it was a diabolical film, were toxic, was zealots. The language that she's using is, to be fair, quite disgusting. Some of the trolls claimed allegiance to that label, others merely qualified for membership. Oh, right, so that who decides the membership? Does it's you lot, people like you, yeah, because you bigots. It's member of Fandom Menace. Even those who do not consider them as part of it or decry their disturbing attack patterns may contribute to the success without meaning to do so. Regardless of how they identify, each is a cancer cell in a larger, enormous hate blob as descended from Gamergate and Comics. No, it's not. And as for Gamergate, bullshit. Fucking hell, love. Infecting fandoms in most ridiculous entertainment franchises in the world, mainly Marvel, Star Wars, and other Disney titles. Yeah, but it's because what they're producing is just shit. So what you're saying now is, which is a standard leftist response to everything, do as we say, and if you don't agree with it, you're a sexist, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're an ism and an obe. Whatever we can throw at you, whatever excuse we can, that's what you are, because you don't agree with what we agree with. That's shit. It's also leaderless, therefore easily deniable, allowing it to proliferate in spaces designed to be escapism and unserious. Because this, most journalistic coverage of fantasy or comic book, TV-related TV and movie caters to the consumers engaged in these shows and films in good faith in the form of episodic analysis and specific artistry informing its visuals and scripts. This may be the reason that our coverage and condemnation of these hate eruptions has taken on a reflexive pattern too. I've certainly been guilty in this publication and elsewhere. Reports on an offence, quote the reactions of the person being targeted and amplify the voices rallying to the support. We boost the notion that malignant actors within fandoms are limited to a small group that excels at being louder than the reasonable majority. No, that's what you fucking lefties do. That's exactly what you do. You are what you claim we are. You're worse than anyone. You are. You're just the worst of the worst. We trust that exposing each incident is enough, that the hatred towards the latest tangent actor will fade, which it usually does. We close the loop by expecting there will be another incident, and already knowing the reason, guaranteeing cycle will begin anew. Because that's what you engineer it for. That's why all this shit is done. It's bait and switch constantly. Every show, it's like, we'll take Miss Marvel for instance. Instead of just going, here's Miss Marvel, first Muslim superhero. You do it to bait people. You do it on purpose, and then when somebody says something, oh well, it's because you're racist. I did a review of the show. I did 2 episodes. It was the most droll, boring pile of crap I've ever had the displeasure of sitting through. And that's got nothing to do with the race of the actress who's in the lead role, and everything to do with the fact it's shitly written. Obi-Wan Kenobi. I managed to do 3 episodes of that until I realised how shittily written that was, and how it was just determined to destroy more than it was to create. But of course, that makes me a racist and a bigot, by me pointing out the simple fact the show was crap. No relation to any of the actors and actresses. But no, I'm a racist. And therefore, even me reading this and reacting like this makes me, in her eyes, part of the Fandom Menace. When all I am is a fat bloke in his shed pointing out the fact that the stuff I'm watching now is shit. It's easier to brace for impact, enact communications triage and wait for the problems to go away than examine what motivates people beyond these hate campaigns. They're not hate campaigns, it's for people just saying it's shit. It's a review that from a point of view that you don't agree with. What you think is any of these studios, these film plays, could just release any pile of crap, and we have to fucking like it. Because if we don't, we're every Ist, Ism and Ob on the planet. When in reality, those people are you, not us. You make it all about race. We don't. We just point out what we think is wrong. You are everything that you claim we are. There are answers to that question beyond the simplest, which is good old-fashioned racism. No, it's not, you fucking prick. Oh, people like this really wind me up. Don't get me wrong, that's enough of a reason for someone to devote a few minutes of time on mouse clips to do their part in tanking ratings on the show they view as progressive. No, it's not. That's what you think. You don't think. You think that because your mind, your warped little mind, likes this, then I have to like it. I have to like it, and I can't say anything against it. I should be sitting here and spewing wonderful things about a show which is shit. No one watches it. And we're talking Miss Marvel. You didn't even make 1 million viewers in the US in first 5 days of its showing. It's not me. It's a shit show. People aren't watching it. And you can't do what you do. See, this is what the left, you idiots on here, do very, very well. And that is, you act disgustingly towards people who have a different opinion. You're all for the inclusive and diverse. As long as people do what you say. As long as people think what you think. And if they don't, then they're the evil. They're the bigot, the racist, the sexist, the homophobe. All the bullshit that I have thrown at me throughout what I do on YouTube. Because I am the archetypal enemy, aren't I? I'm white, straight, and over 50, and I'm a man. I'm hated already. I'm hated by people like you because I won't do as you tell me to do. I won't think like you want me to think. Therefore, you have to degrade me and dehumanise me and call me something I fucking isn't. Bastards. The attacks on Ingram and Jeffries before her, the campaign devoted to downplaying the severity in the wake of them, requires us to at least begin to grapple with where these campaigns begin and how each, in their own way, may contribute to the large political efforts to mainstream white supremacy and radicalise the disaffected. No, you dickheads, it's not white supremacy. The standard go-to for the left when everything isn't going their way. It's not white supremacy. People just don't like your shit, irrespective of the colour of our skin. Because there, you see, you've made it about race now. And radicalising the disaffected. The disaffected are created by your opinions and your views and the way that you treat people who don't have the same view as you. That's it. You're creating the problem. But you won't get them. Geekdom went mainstream decades ago, but it's still commonly viewed through the filter of adolescent harmlessness. This is used for the purpose of Facebook groups such as Christians Against Ms. Marvel. Religion fucks everything up any case. It doesn't matter. In my book, you can be whatever religion you want. That's fine. But I always find that 99% of the world problems is because one religion won't accept the other. And you're all believing in a non-existent entity any case. So who's the fucking lunatics now? But that's just my personal point of view. A private forum whose purported founder and a character calling themselves Wade Wilson, a troll in itself, described the purpose as follows. Miss Marvel might be the biggest slap in the face for conservative Christians to date. Disney decided that the face of this franchise should not be Carol Danvers, but should instead be a gay Muslim. No more straight Christian characters from Marvel. Those days are over. Please join us and let Disney know that we will not be cancelled. That's a point of view. Plausible too, considering the right-wing Christian conservative protest over Disney's inclusivity policies. You know what Disney's inclusivity policies are doing? Ruining the fucking company. Their share price is dropping. People aren't watching. People aren't just leaving Disney Plus in droves. Why? Because people don't want that. And when will thick little twats like you get it through your skull, we're interested in being entertained. Not preached to, not have agendas and other things forced down our throats. Then reality, we're quite happy, transgender, whatever. I don't give a fuck. You carry on. But when I'm having it rammed down my throat, and moreover, when you decide what's best for my child, to watch, then I'm afraid you're not going to have a fucking problem. As I've always said this, I don't judge anyone on anything. I just judge you on whether you're being a twat or not. And you're being a fucking twat. Writing this load of self-dating fucking shit. However, attempting to correct the factual errors in the page so-called mission statement, Kamala Khan is neither gay nor replacing Carol Danvers. Examine the page detail itself is much more informative. The group's history reveals that it's been called Christians Against Ms. Marvel since June 7th, the day before the series debuted. Before that, it was called Christians Against Doctor Strange and the Multiverse Madness. And before that, it was called Christians Against Turning Red. Well, is it probably because they're fucking just sick to death of everything? But it doesn't matter. I mean, Turning Red was a sack of shit and all. How did that do again? Not so well. And if you aren't going, how's Lightyear doing? Now, that's fucking bombing as well. This page, Christians, in fact, has been against Disney in general. Marvel's The Eternals. Yeah, that was shit film. That was boring and pointless. Spider-Man No Way Home. Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings. Shit. The Loki series. The Little Mermaid, positioned in a different way than Christians Against the Little Mermaid boycott Halle Berry, which my colleague Ashell Stevens wrote about. Its anti-Disney, anti-inclusive stance stretches back to this 29th of December 2020 when this page was titled Twisted Tea for Mitch McConnell. Look, the problem is Disney have created this themselves by basically ignoring the fucking bullshit inclusivity there by just producing shit on a stick. There's nothing good that's come out of Disney since that date. At all. Nothing. Not a thing. But it's also quite clearly that someone's idea of a long-running joke. The page claims that 18,000 attention-seeking goblins. Oh, your language is wonderful, isn't it, for the inclusiveness? Who's full of hate now? Louise? Who's the hate monger now? By throwing away horrible terms to people who don't agree with your opinion. Aren't you the hateful little one? Likely to blow off steam by triggering the libs strictly for the lols. It's only Way Wilson's second most popular page, though, coming in behind the 39,000 strong members of Linda Skeen's Secret Cookbook, which in merely 24 hours went by Helen Keller never existed. Laughing off pages like this one is simple. Review bombing, less so. It's not review bombing. Fucking idiot. This is a recurring strategy on the database-driven movie and TV sites that are posting aggregate scores for user ratings. The tactic's goal is to create the illusion that a show or TV series is a creative bomb by intentionally depressing the audience ratings with a barrage of one-star reviews or equivalent. These ratings are easy gained on sites lacking specific measures to curb abuse, which is what Rotten Tomatoes did in 2019 following the coordinating bombing of the audience rating Captain Marvel, which hardly anyone ever went to watch, was actually full of empty seats when it was reportedly booked full. And I know that, for instance, because I used to checking constantly in the UK the seating plans for it, and then having people I know go to the show, because I wouldn't watch it, and reporting that a cinema that was reported as full was half full. So you were inflating it, and it wasn't review bombed, it was a shit film. I've waited till it came out on telly, I've watched it, and it is shit. It's pointless. It's crap. It's just junk. Typical Disney shit, as far as I'm concerned. But in any case. And what do Rotten Tomatoes do to that? Now what they do is, once you start getting a few reviews that are anti, they just take it off. Just delete them. They don't count. So now you're creating an artificially created environment of scores. I mean, we all know that, you know, the critics score giving this a 52. No one gives a shit about that because they're all paid. No one cares about critics. There are no critics left in the world. Well, they are. They're people like me who sit in this little shed with a microphone and a bit of YouTube. Yeah? And because we don't like certain things, we're everything under the sun. IDBM star ratings remain sternly similar to manipulate, it seems. On June 9th, Miss Marvel was polling at 6.6 out of 10, thanks to a 22.10% reviewers giving the series 1 star. This dragged down the 39.5, giving it 10 stars. A fair show of which was probably contributed by users attempting to restore the balance of scale, and therefore invalidating your fucking argument. So if you vote against its review bombing, but if you lie and pretend you like it, that's okay. Fuck's sake. Didn't work in the long run. Today, Miss Marvel has a 6.1 user rating with 1% star being written to 27.2%. Person can simply claim that a lot of people don't like the series, but if that was so, the RT audience ratings will resemble IBM's, and it doesn't by a significant margin. That's because it's a made-up number by people who are paid to give good results. On the surface, these two examples are likely to rate as annoying ploys to gain attention or take swipes at giant media conglomerates that ultimately does in fact a juvenile backlash in its decision-making process. But they serve as a distraction from the more dangerous problem posed by a handful of YouTubers, such as Geeks and Gamers or The Quartering, whose bread and butter is anti-Star Wars, anti-Marvel videos. If you've actually fucking watched any of them, you little hate monger, you'll actually find that what they say are very valid points. But of course, I bet you don't even watch them, do you? You're doing what you're accusing everybody else of doing. Yeah? Full of shit. Successful review bombing efforts, in fact, provoke such influences data point proving the rectitude of the complaints about diversity. Exhaustive, extensive research, 2021 Medium Post, authorised by Rewriting Ridley, draws a connection between Star Wars toxic fandom and these YouTube personalities and the right-wing ecosphere that came before them and that continues to nourish them. What a load of shit. Actually watch some of the videos, but then again you won't, not with your warped, pathetic little left-wing hate-mongering mind. Everyone should read it to gain great understanding how these figures profit off racism and misogyny in the ways that aren't racism and misogyny. Really? In ways that aren't obvious to prima facie, but they're not well hidden either. Geeks and Gamers and The Quartering, the YouTube vodka monkey of Jeremy Hambley, styles itself as a pop culture gatekeepers. Individuals associated with Geeks and Gamers includes its founder Jeremy Griggs, as well as contributor Ryan Kinnell, also leveraging their brands as gateways to alt-right ideology via their personal YouTube channels. No, it's called having an opinion. They do it on there. You're doing it by writing it on here, aren't you? You're the same fucking thing, you moron. Jesus Christ. Griggs, for example, has more than 101 subscribers. And how many people read your shit? To his channel, operating under the handle D-Day Cobra, where he posts titles such as Freedom Truckers are making Crown Gate again, and in one video posted on the 6th of January, explains the rioting mob as a result of we the people being fed up and decrying the violence. The second video, posted the same day, posts a conspiracy theory blaming the violence on Antifa bogeymen and Black Lives Matter activists, which is actually, well, in fact, it's not even that, is it? It's usually the FBI guys, you know, the ones who had their earpieces in. Yeah? It was a stage managed thing. But of course, you don't think that because I bet you voted Biden, didn't you, you fucking idiot? That's doing you good, isn't it? Any case. Sorry if I keep swearing, you just annoy me. The video is entitled, "The media is the enemy of the people." Correct. A favourite phrase of the 45th president of the history of invoked by Stalin as well as Nazi Germany after the First World War. And if you know how the youth are angry work, you can guess which videos surface alongside these. Whoa, really? So you're now comparing these YouTubers to Joseph Stalin and the Nazi Germany, which was Hitler, if I remember quite rightly, who was, a fucking liberal. You can't do, you see, if we did that to you, you'd be up in arms. Of course, each of these men is sophisticated enough in their approach to prevent a running afoul of YouTube community guidelines. Instead of using slurs, they invoke terms like woke and rail against SJWs ruining Star Wars universe. They're right. None of which makes successful calls for harassment or violence against targets of their ranks, which, when there isn't a woman of colour to go after or Amber Heard isn't in the news, tends to be Lucasfilm president and this group's Darth, Kathleen Kennedy. Wow. You are special, Louise. Very special. Yes, people like you who think like that are mainly the cause of all our problems, but you'll never see that because, of course, you're right and everybody else is a bigot. Importantly, they and others go out their way to insist that none of their vitriol comes from a racist place and condemn violence, but such disclaimers tend to be adjacent to gaslighting or misinformation. So, anything that they say is automatically misinformation. You believe the media, don't you? Because you work for the media. And you all lie, and it's been proven on multiple occasions. But in any case, a popular recent one cast out on Ingram's reports that the nature of harassment and Disney's assertion that racism exists amongst the Star Wars fandom. Because it's an easy get out of jail free card, isn't it? That old racism card. Gets you a lot of times out of the shit, doesn't it? Also generates a lot of interest in the show, don't you think? If that's so, one popular argument goes, why didn't we hear about the backlash against Ming-Na Wen's cast in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, or Rosa Dawson taking on the role of Ahsoka Tano? This obviously ignores the salient fact that Wen and Dawson probably have long careers and more managerial layers between them and their online fans and haters, whereas Ingram, Jeffries and others appear to run their own social media accounts, making it easier for trolls to see more tangible impacts of their attacks. Bollocks! It is. Absolute rubbish. The reason that they didn't get done for the Mandalorian and the Boba Fett and so Ming-Na Wen and Rosie Dawson, because they were great. Simple as. There's no need to attack those people because they were doing a good job of acting. And if you bother to pay attention instead of whacking out the race card every chance you get, you might find that 99.9% of the criticism, and don't get me wrong, fully aware that there are some actual racists out there and they're scum of the universe, but a lot of the criticism was in the fact of the ability of her acting. But of course she won't listen to that because it's racist, isn't it? For example, enough trolls bombarded TikTok admins with the fake violation reports to get both Jeffrey's accounts deplatformed in the wake of her Percy Jackson casting. I very much doubt it was that reason. But of course, that's what you're going to say, isn't it? Because you're right and we're wrong. Another reframes the statement of the official Star Wars Twitter account posted in support of England reads, if anyone intends to make her feel any way unwelcome, we've only one thing to say, we resist, as being directed to anyone who doesn't like the series. Obi-Wan's shit. I don't give it, it's nothing to do with anything to do with it. We know Reva got a lot of backlash for her acting. There you go. For her spot in the story and her importance and everything that she knew for continuity in a lot of different things. Kindle spews in reaction video. Lucasfilm wants to paint anyone that didn't like this character racist because and he's right, because you're doing it right now. And monetizing the outrage of this disillusion is lucrative. You consider that a YouTube personality can make anywhere between $18 per 1,000 ad views, equating to $3 to $5 per 1,000 video views. You begin to understand why these few men, and it's mainly men, yeah, but there are women. Plenty of women are doing it as well, make their job pointing out multiple videos a day. But I'll tell you what, I don't monetize my videos. I'm just a tiny YouTuber, and I agree with them most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. Griping about wokeness ruining Star Wars, the MCU's big business. And in case you haven't been paying attention to these folks, for the most part, the average viewer, moviegoer, and entertainment journalist hasn't. Business is good. It's because the concepts have been mainstreamed. What are complaints about race-bending roles or casting diversity, not a weaker version of the so-called Great Replacement theory? You know, just asking questions. Well, you know, it's true. It's happening for diversity and inclusivity. I did an actual live stream with John the White about the BBC and its diversity policy, where it's deliberately getting rid of white people and replacing them. With facts, with proof, with evidence. And here you see people... Well, let's put it like this. A lot of characters which were white have now been replaced by black characters. Now, can we recast Blade as a white man? Can we recast Shaft as a white man? And then when we get to the Wayans brothers, who are black guys dressing up as white women, that's fine. You see, the problem is like you lefties, you're never prepared to accept the reverse side of the coin because you don't want to. You are investing in attacking white people like you are in this article because it's business for you. You are exactly what you say we are. Again, always. The whole of this article is you having to go at white people, which makes you a racist. But of course you're not, are you? Because you're on the right side of the coin. Sexism and racism abided in general fandom long before Star Wars sequels were an itch in Lucas's brain. Ask any of your greying geeks and trekkers in your orbit who saw like-minded souls and message boards at Comic-Con back in the 1990s and the noughties. Only recently has that bigotry metasized and effective enough to produce predictable repetition of outrage cycles coincide with efforts by media corporations to cast more inclusive and, more to the point, in the wake of Gamergate. This is not an accident. No. Diversity and inclusivity and representation are right, but you're not doing any of that. Because you're not inclusive because you push white people out. You're not diverse because you won't let white men be in things. And you're definitely not representative because you've got far more black people in than the representation will be. But doesn't matter. Because of course you're right, we're wrong. In 2014, Gamergate tested how effectively misogynistic racist fandom could be harnessed and weaponised against individuals designed as stand-ins for an entire group of people. People involved claimed to be fed up with the creeping incursion of progressiveness in the gaming industry. In reality, they were channeling untapped white male rage. Racist fucker. You're doing it again. You can't accuse one and then continue to do it. But you don't see that, do you? Because you're right and we're wrong. Eventually came in the form of Kelly Marie Tran, whose character Rose Tico, her most favourite punching bag amongst the Menace, along with Leslie Jones and Zenda, who had the nerve to be cast as MJ in Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies. Yep, because that was race swapping. Imagine if it was the other way around. But of course, again, two sides of a coin. You don't want to turn the coin over and admit the fact that you're doing exactly the same thing right now. One of the takeaways of this culture-shifting ordeal was the effectiveness of the apparently leaderless mob narrowly directing campaigns of harassment, including doxing, and actual harassment and actual doxing are wrong, but the Liberals do it better than anyone else. Go on the Doctor Who fandom. Just look at the left-wing bullies and the tactics they've used, and the tactics that you people who write like you who write these things do all the time. You're as bad, if not worse. So don't just say, harassment and doxing. Nah, you're worse. Way worse. But hey, same side of a coin. What we failed to comprehend is that mob never really dispersed. It's merely redirected it to another target, mainly women of colour, and involved its methods. No, we haven't, because again, you're not really paying attention to what we're actually saying. You're just making it about race. We're not. You are. All this begs for Disney and other corporations to use their power to take concrete steps to protect black, brown, Asian, indigenous and non-white actors as it continues to hold these roles. Public statements are one step, but they can be coupled with the primitive protections that could enact on their talents' social media accounts. But of course they also use those social media accounts to generate fake shit to get it in there, so you can all write stupid articles like this and pretend that you're holier than thou, when in reality you're doing exactly the same thing. Excuse me. If Disney found a way to alert TikTok of the hatred it correctly perceived was coming Jeffrey's way, would she have had her account suspended? It wasn't just that, was it? If they devoted similar resources towards sheltering England from online hatred, how it might impact the narrative being misshapen by far-right leaning personalities masquerading as guardians of Star Wars and Marvel face. No, they're not. We're not guardians. We've watched the original ones and we're not happy with what we see now. So we say something. But of course, you're right, we're wrong. More alarming truth, however, is the fandom's toxicity may too far be gone effectively eradicating it. The writing Ripley post acknowledges this. Despite describing its article as a plea for any entity that has enough power to control the narrative to be aware of how hate is designed to manipulate those narratives without most people even realising it. Or the media. That's exactly what the media does. They create fake stories, they create scares, hate and everything else. Media is very good at generating hate, pitching one side against the other, having one opinion and not another. by shouting just one side of the voice of the argument and ignoring, degrading, dehumanising and giving it a horrible name and calling them racists, bigots, etc. because they don't agree with their point of view. The media is as guilty of doing exactly the same thing. In his title, in plain sight, how white supremacy, misogyny and hate targeted Star Wars trilogy, sequel trilogy and won. By Melanie McFarland. There you go. So, Louise. It is Louise, isn't it? No, Melanie McFarland. Louise was from another one. You see, what you've wrote there is exactly what I would expect somebody like you to write. But the thing is, you're being racist, you're hate-filled, you're disgusting. You are everything in that article that you accuse people like Jeremy to be, the Quartering, Geeks and Gamers, and anyone else who dares speak out against what you think is right. Doesn't surprise me in the least. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a fat guy sitting in a shed surrounded by his toys. But you let me know what you think. Comment section down below. You know the rules, you know the regulations, you know what you can and can't do, so get on with it. If you enjoyed this video, please thumb it up. Here's Dave the Thumb. If you want to watch some more videos like this on my channel, just hit the subscribe button that's located down there. Hover, click subscribe, all done. And if you do that, don't forget to ding that bloody bell. Keep forgetting about that bloody bell, but don't forget to ding it. And with that, and as always, and until the next one, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you for your time. It's always been much appreciated. And until the next one.